Welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Get ready to revitalize your mind, body, and soul. We're here to inspire women who are looking to break free from old patterns and ideas to create a life of increased confidence and improved health. Say goodbye to limiting beliefs and hello to new possibilities. So kick back, get ready to have some fun, and let's dive in. We'll uncover tools and insights that can help you build a life that's truly nourishing, body and soul. Hi, I'm Tracy.
Hi, I'm Victoria. Hi,
And
everybody.
This is Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast.
The podcast. Here we are.
Yes. So today we're talking about intuitive eating. And as you can imagine from the title of it, what it's called, it's about eating intuitively. And
It's so easy.
Yeah, super easy. That's why I built it. It's not, well,
It's a process.
It has
Sorry,
become,
it's a
our
process.
intuition has been trained out of us, and so it actually, anyway, we'll get to that. And this topic.
Sorry, I distracted you. I apologize. I will be quiet and let her give the intro at least before I go.
This topic is so
I don't
big
go like that, but
that we will be covering this in many episodes. So don't worry if you leave this with more questions than answers. That's okay. Today we're going to give a brief overview of what it is, go over the principles super quickly, and then give you 5 resources to learn more about it if you want to learn more about it like right now before we get back to it with more episodes about it. So this is more of a brief explanation and resource episode, okay? So there's 10 principles of intuitive eating. And I know much better than this, but I can even take these 10 principles of intuitive eating and treat them like more rules for another diet, which is exactly what intuitive eating is not about. So I know I'm not alone in this, and I do know better. And so every now and then when I find myself approaching it like that, I got to go, no, not a diet. Chill out. Don't make it a diet.
so I know better, but I'm trying to give up sugar. And this isn't the bad part. I'm trying to give up sugar because my family is like filled with diabetes people. And so I'm like just getting to the point where like I have to start exercising and not eating sugar if I want to avoid a fate, which
is genetic fate.
Yeah, a genetic fate.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So I know better, but I was giving up sugar. And the day before I did, I went to Cold Stone Creamery, which is an ice cream shop. And we haven't had it. It's a chain ice cream shop, and it's super, super good. And we haven't had it in our town because we have a small town. And we just got it. And I'm so excited about it, like too excited about it a little bit. But anyway, so I know better, but I went to Cold Stone and got the biggest, gotta have it, like bit of ice cream that you
For
have.
your last supper.
Yes, for my last sugar supper. So I got it, and there's like what it is you get like whatever kind of ice cream it is, and then there's like umpteen million toppings, and they are down there. They're like cookies, and
you can have like as many as you want, right?
Oh yeah, you can have as many as you want. Oh yeah, trust, I have. And you can have nuts, you can have like fruit, you can have, I never have fruit.
Candies and cookies.
Yes, you have like candy bars, like I had a Twix in my brownie cookie dough ice cream. And yeah, so you get a ton. So I ordered the biggest. I ordered 3 toppings because who wants just one topping if you're going all the way? And so the guy who made it, and he must have sensed, like, he must have
a need.
Yeah, he must have sensed like my desperation for that last sugar. Because when they make it, they take all the candies and whatever you've ordered, and they smush it up on this Cold Stone, and then they take it and they put it in the cup. Now, there's always like a little bit left, and they always scrape it off and put it in like, I don't know, whatever, like a garbage thing. And I always like, what? Like extra. No one's ever taken that. He took the like extra bits and packed it on the top. So
because you gotta have it.
Yes, because I gotta have it, and he must have sensed that I needed it. So anyway, So yeah, so then I'm walking out the store and I'm like licking the side of the bowl because there's so much stuff on there. Yes, cone. And I'm like, anyway, nobody needed that visual, sorry. Anyway, so then yeah, and then I get into the car, and the whole time I'm hoping nobody sees me. I'm hoping no one comes in because it's a small town and maybe they might. Nobody comes in and sees me getting Cold Stone Creamery for dinner. And so then I sit in the car because I'm too embarrassed to go home, and then I eat my ice cream. All of it.
Yeah, this whole Last Supper thing.
And I tried to be intuitive about it. I tried to go enjoy this Twix and pecans while I eat my chocolate brownie dough ice cream. I tried really hard. If I just made you guys hungry for ice cream, I'm really sorry. I just made myself hungry for ice cream, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we can trigger ourselves.
Yes, I
sometimes.
just trigger warning.
So yeah, that whole Last Supper mentality. I'm imagining that if you're here with us, you probably have been on a diet or two, and you're very familiar with what this whole Last Supper idea is. It's just that, you know, I'm going to get this up forever, so I got to get this now. I'm going on a diet on Monday, so
yeah,
now I got to eat all the things I'm never going to be able to have again.
Yeah, I'm going to gain 5 pounds before I go to lose it.
Yeah, it's that desperation, which is one of the big problems with diets, and the restrictions. So with intuitive eating,
so you're going to help me. You're going to help me with
this intuitive eating.
issues.
Yeah. Intuitive eating, it certainly can help with a situation like that, 100%. Also realizing that this journey to becoming an intuitive eating is that it's a journey. And, you know, you and I are not in our 20s. We've had a lot of years behind us to have our intuition with food trained out of us. And so it's not.
You just reveal I wasn't in my 20s.
Yeah, I did.
For rude. Okay, go ahead. I'm happy with my body.
And your age.
And my age. I'm mostly happy with my age on most days. Anyway.
So we're going to really quickly go over the principles of intuitive eating.
Can I just say something? I was talking to somebody and telling them I was going to do this intuitive eating podcast. Like this episode, and they said, oh, intuitive eating, that's what skinny people say to like make themselves feel better about everything. Like that makes them, it didn't even make sense. Like make themselves feel better. Like that's what skinny people say. It's not like a regular person. Like basically what I think they were saying is you're saying don't diet. And so skinny people can easily, this is I think what he was saying, skinny people can easily say, don't diet. But people who are not of the like whatever the prescriptive mold is, that they can't use intuitive eating to help.
Oh gosh.
And I didn't even know what to say. I was just shocked. Wasn't my brother here, so
Sorry, diet culture. What? Trigger. Feel free to do that. That's diet culture talking right there.
Yeah,
right there. So here are the principles. Let's get the screen share going.
Sorry, I was a little interrupt, but like I just thought I wanted to put that out there at the beginning. This is not about. It's not about being skinny.
It's about developing a healthy relationship with food and your body, and about mental health and ultimately physical health. So it is 100% and not something that skinny people say to feel better about themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
So here are the principles. The first one being reject the diet mentality. We've talked about that in an earlier episode where we talked about diet culture, and just this, understand too, you probably are reading ahead on this list if you're like me. But, these things we understand, they sound simple and they're easier said than done, but it's a process, and some of them sound pretty basic, but if we stop and think about it, it's like, it's just, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
and you're just going to read these, and then we're going to talk about it,
right.
Okay.
So
the first I want to talk about some of these. Okay. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet for a little while.
Yeah, we don't want to keep this visual up forever. So, reject the diet mentality is the first one. To change, you know, just realize that that's a thing and get away from it. The next one is to honor our hunger, and then make peace with food. to challenge the food police, to feel our fullness, and to discover the satisfaction factor, to cope with your emotions without using food. Do not laugh. It is humanly possible. Respect your body, which is different than body positivity. Exercise and feel the difference, not exercise and watch the scale go down or the muscles grow, whatever. And the 10th one is to honor your health with gentle nutrition. So we'll talk about each of these more. I'm going to give you like a second or two if you want to screenshot or whatever, to get that recorded for yourself if you want to. And then we're going to take this off so we can just talk about some of these now. So rejecting that diet mentality, obviously it's just, you know, that whole, we've been talking about this already, that whole, that people are often so afraid of gaining weight, even if they're at a good weight already, so afraid of gaining weight that they're still living with a diet mentality.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we are heavier than we feel like we should be, then we want to be on a diet. And just that whole, the idea of controlling in that way and having the need to control what we're eating. So like from exterior sources or where we're looking for that. So that diet mentality, that's, and these are numbered 1 to 10, and this is how they're always listed, but it's not like do this one first and then do this one. They're not linear. So, I mean, don't wait until you've completely rejected the diet mentality before you start trying to honor your hunger. You know, it's like some of these steps are going to come more naturally and more easily, and some are going to be a lot harder and take a lot longer. So this is just the first one on the list, is to recognize the diet mentality and then to realize that it's not serving us, any one of us. Next one is to honor your hunger. And that sounds pretty basic.
Yeah, but if you're well, there's a couple things. One is and we've talked about like, here you go, here's your breakfast, here's your snack, here's your lunch, here's your snack. Like, these are the time you eat before this time, because you don't want to eat before 8, because then when you go to bed at 9:30, then well, people do go to bed at 9:30. I don't go to bed at 9:30, but anyway,
it's a.m.
yeah, I am going to bed at 9:30 a.m. Anyway, so there's like that idea.
It doesn't, regardless of how hungry or not hungry you are, that's not even on the table. Here's your portion, here's your portion size, this is what you eat at this meal.
Can I not bash? I'm gonna just tell a story about, but I'm not bashing Jenny Craig. I don't want Jenny Craig people to come after me. If it works and you feel good about that. But I was on Jenny Craig once, and so you go there and they give you your food. You have to buy the food. It's their food, and then you work one-on-one with somebody. Okay, so you get 3 meals and 2 snacks and a dessert. Okay.
And did they tell you what time? Like, gave you your time of day?
Yeah.
So you're getting not just the food, but the time of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So anyway, it's
not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. Isn't that funny? That is what people say. Like, oh, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Meaning you have to.
Lifestyle is living on this diet.
Yeah, meaning you have to diet for the whole rest of your life and know that it's a diet, but pretend it's a lifestyle. I don't know. It's crazy. So anyway. So I go there, the first week's fine. They give me the food. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. But their snacks are pretty good and the dessert's really good. And so the next week, I'm good like Monday. Tuesday, I eat like both of my snacks at the same time. And then and then my lunch, I eat my dessert. And then Wednesday, I ate all the rest of the snacks for the entire week and all the desserts for the entire week, all on Wednesday. So the rest of the week I had to go without any desserts or snacks, which wasn't fun, and didn't give me enough calories for what I was supposed to have. So anyway, so I go there and you meet with somebody. I didn't lose weight, and I met with a person and I said, look, lady, like, I don't want to buy the snacks and the dessert.
Can we stop and point out here that this whole idea of you didn't lose weight, You ate exactly the food that you were provided and you didn't lose weight. And so now, why didn't you lose weight? It's your fault because you didn't do the program right, because you didn't eat the food when you were supposed to. So it's your fault. And this is another part of the whole diet mentality and the diet culture. It's like, we don't look at it and go, this program isn't working. It's that I'm the problem because I didn't work the program right, or I would have lost weight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. Yes, that's true. I never even realized that I was feeling guilty there because I like had to confess I didn't want to eat. So I told her, look, I don't want snacks.
Forgive me, counselor, for I have sinned.
It's like a little confessional. Sometimes we're like a little confession. I'm like a little confession to you. And you're my like amazing priest. Anyway, priestess. Anyway. So yeah. So I tell her, look, lady, I don't want the snacks and the dessert because I
cannot be trusted with them because I am faulty.
Exactly. And so she said, no, that's not how the program works. And I said, well, no, that's really what I can't do it. Like, I can't do what you want me to do. I can't. And she's like, well, that's part of learning. And so anyway, I stopped going. I didn't want because plus I was paying money for snacks that I was eating all in one day. So anyway, and they weren't that good.
And what that also does is it teaches that we don't even think about our hunger.
Yes,
and so point. Because when we spend so long not even considering our hunger, then we lose the ability to even recognize our hunger cues. And for some of us, it's pretty obvious. Your stomach starts growling. Oh,
yeah,
maybe I'm hungry. But what we don't recognize is that there are so many other signs of hunger. The word hangry is a thing these days for a reason. We don't start realizing that these changes in our mood or this kind of brain fog that we're feeling can be a sign of hunger, or that our energy is just not quite what it was. And instead of going, oh, that's right. I know that when I am hungry, it's my blood sugar that's low, and I start feeling kind of sluggish, not quite mentally sharp. Oh, I'm hungry. And it's very sad to say that too many of us don't even recognize that, because we have been taught to ignore our hunger because we eat prescriptively. You'll eat this here, this here, this here, this amount, and it has nothing to do with our hunger. So honoring our hunger. When we're hungry, our body is telling us we need to eat. And they're also learning to recognize hunger can help us. It sounds kind of counterintuitive to say, but can help us with this cold stone kind of situation.
Oh yeah.
When we go, oh, we may hear on our hunger. It's like, oh my gosh, if I ate every time I was hungry, I'd be eating all the time. And it's like, not so much. Not when we're really honoring our true hunger and we recognize it. Okay, I'm craving this, but that has to do with value. I love these salty chips, but it's not because I'm hungry. It's because my kids have got me up to here right now. So I'm not hungry, I'm stressed.
Wow.
And so it helps us when we really start recognizing our hunger signals, then we can eat according to that instead of other signals.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't even think about the difference between craving and hungry. That sounds ridiculously simple, but I've never even, that's a new thing to think. Oh, am I craving it or am I hungry?
Yeah. So again, because our hunger has been basically kind of trained out of us. So there's that. Next one is the third one is to make peace with food. What do you think when you read that? What is that? What do you even think about that?
Well, I was thinking about that actually earlier today. So I was thinking about, well, your daughter just was in Paris like 3 days ago or something. And I've been to Paris a few times, and they like honor their food. Like they're serious about their food, and they make sure that it's whole, not all of it, of course, but that they're using the best ingredients. And I went to a farmer's market when I was there, and I speak French because I took some in college. So I was like, hey, ça va, and I'm touching the tomatoes at this farmer's market because that's what you do here, right? Because some of them are good, some of them are bad. And the guy got super mad at me, told me not to speak French. There are nice people in Paris. I have met very many nice people in Paris, but there are some. So anyway, he tells me not to speak French. And then he's like, don't touch the food. You asked me to, it's all good. And he was right. Like everything was really, really good because, you know, he wasn't just there like, here's some tomatoes, or he was, you know, it wasn't the grocery store, here's some tomatoes. Here was a man who took pride in whatever food he was offering, so much so that he was like, don't touch it. Give it to you. But, you know, like I was thinking that really felt like, you know, making peace with food is like, yeah, like that. I don't know if that made any sense to any of you.
And that's a good example. That's
Make
a
sense
part
of
of
me,
it.
please.
But it also another part that's a good aspect of it. But and it is multidimensional. But making peace with food is also how many times have we let what we think we should eat or shouldn't eat make us look at food as this is good food, this is virtuous food, this is bad food, it is not virtuous food. And so we get this whole and even with foods that are we deem are virtuous foods, if we eat too much of them, then we feel bad about it. And so we have this whole scenario that we play that is developed over the years for ourselves and our experiences and whatever input we've received, that we have no all right, we're gonna stop that. Then we have this whole war going on.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, like I like kale, and
I do not.
No, most people don't, but anyway, I do. And so when I eat kale, I feel like, that's so good. Look at me eating my kale, how great I am. And, you know, I feel like
if you were eating in front of a mirror, I bet you could see your halo as well.
Probably shining it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a halo. Okay, stop. Anyway, yeah, so I always feel like kale is a 10 on the scale of virtuous food. I never even really thought about food having
virtue value.
Yeah, I never thought about that before, but yeah, like you think about that, and then Cold Stone's like,
kale is going to heaven.
Yes,
Cold Stone.
You go into the warm place where it's gonna melt.
So
yeah, it's gonna melt. How unfortunate! I better eat it before it goes.
Yeah,
but yeah, you don't want it to melt. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about like your food, because you do, like when I used to eat kale a lot for breakfast. I mean, not for breakfast, but for lunches, although I have had kale salads for breakfast. But anyway, because I'm weird. It's baby kale, if that makes it better for anyone.
Not for me.
Okay, well anyway, it doesn't matter. But people at work used to make fun of me, with good reason, I guess. But like they made fun of me because they thought I was thinking I was super virtuous because I was eating kale instead of, you know, whatever, like
instead of Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, instead of Pop-Tarts. Yeah. But they were assigning virtue to kale too. Like I never thought about that.
Yeah.
In that way.
So just making just letting food be food. Just let it be, and recognize that when we can take away that kind of power and that kind of assignment, then we are in a much better place to just go, what food is going to serve me the best. So that making peace with food,
taking away its power, is really good.
Is not our enemy, and especially if we get really into the fear of gaining weight, then it's like, even if we're eating a ridiculously low number of calories a day, we're still, every time we're eating, we're thinking, oh gosh, what is this doing? I hope I'm not going to gain weight from this. And so we just get in this whole
I was in
non-peaceful state.
Yeah. I was in Weight Watchers once, and this woman was like, Weight Watchers is like a confessional too, where you go and like you tell everything. So anyway, so this woman was confessing that she was eating like too many blueberries a day or whatever. And this guy who had been there a long time, he was super funny. Anyway, he's like, oh, honey buns, we did not get here by eating blueberries. Which, you know, is true. Like you just even, she was even feeling guilty about eating something that's like a superfood.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like the word superfood?
No, I don't. I feel like it's psychological manipulation.
Whoa.
I do.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you're a better person if you eat these foods, and it's marketing and sales, and that is a completely unregulated term. Completely unregulated. They could, if they thought that they could sell it, they could slap superfood on the Pop-Tarts.
Wow.
So it's
Say it again. That was what?
psychological manipulation, making you, I mean, and the foods that that some deem as superfoods, they're because they're nutrient dense and they're high in antioxidants and all these various things.
But they are.
And they are, and that's good, but it doesn't make them a superfood.
Okay.
It just makes it food that has those nutrients in it.
Okay.
That's all it is. But anyway, so that's just mine.
No,
I'll get off my soapbox now.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's like psychological manipulation and like superfoods. Okay. Carry on.
So anyway, number 4, challenge the food police. And these food police can be interior or they can be exterior. That so many people have, well, maybe you've had the experience where you've been somewhere public and like, you know, maybe with family, and you go back for a second plate of something and at least one person kind of goes, and what's at your plate?
So much,
because it's very clear you should not be having I see you already ate and you're having a second plate. That's food police. The
interior food police,
that often comes from, I had somebody write and ask me about this when I had posted a blog or sent out an email about this particular step, and she's like, completely agree with the external, but I'm not so sure about the internal. I think that to me, that's just self-control and self-discipline. So what am I not seeing here? And the difference is the inner food police, 2 things. First of all, one of them when we hear often enough, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing that, then we internalize that. And when we're going for a cookie, we think, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's an inner thought that we have. There's nobody there telling us we shouldn't be eating the cookie.
Like me with my Cold Stone.
There's
I was like, please don't come in, anybody that I know, because I've got this huge thing.
Nobody came in. That was all you. That was not here.
Yeah.
So it can be exterior false ideas that we have internalized and they become our inner food police. So that we need to talk back to. But then also it can be this idea of self-control and self-discipline. That this might sound kind of strange to say, but when we can really get to the point where we're eating intuitively, it doesn't require self-discipline and it doesn't require self-control, because we're eating, we're listening to our body, we're listening to our hunger and our fullness cues, and we're making informed realizations about why we're eating and being able to make our choices based on that. So it's not about, I may have an Oreo, but I may only have 2. That is my self-imposed limit. That's self-control, that's self-discipline. Intuitive eating is, I'm not going to set a number of how many Oreos I'm eating, because I'm not going to have any because I don't want them, because whatever. Or, yeah, I really feel like an Oreo. I'm going to decide as I go along. I may take a bite of it and go, really all I wanted was a taste, and be done. And if I have set this predetermined, I may only have 2, then I'm going to eat those 2.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to feel like, I wish I could have more. And it's not about what our body's telling us, about the rules that we've set for ourselves.
So if you say you can eat as many Oreos as you want, like, isn't that kind of just saying, I'm going to eat the entire thing? I'm going to eat a sleeve.
That is such a good
sleeve,
question.
You know,
that's such a good question. Such a good question. And that's where a lot of people get kind of sidetracked with
Yeah.
intuitive eating. Is just like, oh, that means
You just eat
I
everything.
eat everything all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not that, because when we're really eating intuitively, we're going to know, our body would fill up before a sleeve of Oreos. And so our
Mhm.
fullness cues, which we're getting to, would tell us you're done here.
Mhm.
And we also would have gone, wait a minute, why am I eating this? And go, oh, you know what? I'm eating because I'm stressed, and I recognize that this is, let me go do something that's going to serve me better for actually alleviating the stress than sitting here and stuffing my face with Oreos, which I know doesn't work. And so we've already had that conversation. So while technically we could eat the whole sleeve of Oreos,
Mhm.
it's very, very, very unlikely that we would. And in the event that we did, being an intuitive eater, we'd go, oh,
So
no,
there's a
that didn't
lot.
serve me well.
Mm.
That didn't serve me well. That's not, but I did it and whatever. And then we don't go, oh my gosh, see, I can't be trusted with Oreos.
Yeah.
I can't be trusted with cookies. I really just need to not eat these ever again. We don't go down that path. We go, oh, lesson learned. And why, okay, I recognize now all these other things, how my body feels and what this is not taking care of that I was hoping it would take care of, and all of that stuff.
So I was just thinking, when you're explaining it all, I'm like, oh, that's a lot of self-talk that you have to do. A lot of like, oh, do I really want this? What emotions am I eating? It sounded like an infinite amount of self-talk. But then you just said all that, like, why did I eat it? I'm terrible. I shouldn't have eaten it, blah, 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 blah.
That's a lot of self-talk.
That's a lot of self-talk. I just realized that's a ton of self-talk.
Oh, it is.
It's just having different self-talk.
Yeah. Well, and like with anything, the more we practice it, we don't have to eat that whole sleeve or ahead of time have this whole conversation with ourselves, because all we have to do is take, instead of 10 steps down that conversational path, we just have to take one and go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like with anything, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. We don't, and it is at the beginning, it is a lot of, it is a lot of conversations with ourselves. But as you just pointed out, we still have this conversation. It's just different. Oh, yeah, that was a good point. So the food police can be inner or outer, and to just challenge that, and not just when Aunt Gertrude looks at your plate at the family reunion when you've gone back for seconds, we don't have to go in our mind, oh yeah, I know she's right.
Yeah.
We can go, you know what, Gertrude, if you're not having
we've all had that aunt too.
Yeah.
We all have that aunt.
Like, just whatever. Yeah, that's her thing, it's her stuff, just let it be hers. And then do whatever talking to ourselves we need to step away from that.
Yeah.
So next one is to feel our fullness, which is like the opposite end of the hunger. We recognize that we're hungry, so we eat, and then we recognize, we don't just go, okay, I'm hungry, so now I'm just gonna eat whatever. It's okay, what am I hungry for? And then learning to recognize, just as we've learned to recognize our hunger cues, to recognize our fullness cues.
This is the whole, I am not going to eat a whole Oreo sleeve. Right. So,
or even like for me personally, Thanksgiving was a real telling thing with this, because it's Thanksgiving, and it's just kind of, everybody just feels terrible on Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving dinner, right? Oh, oh my God, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and watch this football game and be in pain. And it's a whole thing. My stretchy pants, I got on my eating pants, that whole thing, we just go out and play that. We need to go move because we just ate all the food.
Yeah,
or whatever.
So
there's all of that, but really for myself, when I went, you know what, this Thanksgiving, I am not going to feel bad. However much I eat, and I'm not going to mentally feel bad or physically feel bad. And so now it's been a long enough time that I don't even think about it. I don't, again, no self-control or self-discipline involved. I rarely go back for seconds on Thanksgiving, just because I don't want to. And I realize that if I go back for more mashed potatoes now, I'm not gonna enjoy, my tongue will enjoy it, but that's the only part of my body that will.
Yeah.
And those mashed potatoes are still going to be there. And even if everybody ate all the mashed potatoes, there's going to be more potatoes at the store, and I can make more tomorrow. tomorrow if I
That's
want,
true.
when I would enjoy them.
That's true.
And so, but it's Thanksgiving, there's gonna be leftovers. I can have them later in the day if I'm hungry again, or I can have them tomorrow, but just realizing that this is not, I'm just not eating because of Thanksgiving and I can.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving, it's just
That complete abandon at Thanksgiving of
Mhm.
like, I'm just gonna eat whatever and I'm gonna eat a ton of it, and whether I feel bad or not, that's too much. But like, that is like the kickoff for me, usually, of just permission to nonstop eat
until January.
until January. Like all the cookies that come about, all the like good things that only come at Christmas time, just eat, and feel guilty the entire time and think, okay, well,
That's
and
right.
then
January's coming. I can get
yeah,
to the gym and start diet then.
my mom makes cookies only at certain cookies. She makes cookies all the time, but she makes certain cookies at Christmas time. And so I always like just eat a ton of them until they're practically gone or gone. And there's like a bag I have to hide. It's, the empty bag. I don't know if you guys ever had an empty bag that you had to hide, but anyway, confessions.
Oh, I'm sure not.
Pure confessions. Anyway,
But,
so
yeah.
so this past Christmas, we've been talking about this for a while. So this past Christmas, I was listening to you and the like, feel your fullness, or feel your fullness and see, do you really want to eat it? So I go to eat my mom's cookies. I'm at her house. Well, I live with my mom, so anyway, that's even extra hard. So I go to, and I think to myself, I am going to eat these cookies and I'm not going to feel 1 ounce of guilt. I'm just refused. So I had like long time talks with me as I was eating these cookies, like these two, she makes snowballs and the lemon bars, and they're like the best in the entire world. And so I'm there eating a snowball. I go back to eat another snowball. I'm like, do I want this snowball? Because I'm practicing my self-talk. Do I want this snowball? And then I had a whole conversation with myself. If I ate it, then I wasn't going to feel guilty. And so I thought, well, I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to feel guilty because it's Christmas time and it's the only time I get these, and I'm not going to feel guilty. So I ate another one. Now I went back and I looked at it and I thought, I had 3. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling plus. If I want my mom to make snowball cookies in February or June, I can ask my mom, hey mom, please. And she would do it. And so it's not like,
the desperation.
Yeah. But anyway, it worked. So there's hope, is what I'm saying. Not always am I doing it, obviously, Cold Stone, but there is hope because it really did work. Like that was the thing that I was actually really surprised that what you said really, really worked.
And it wasn't the self-control, and it wasn't the self-discipline that you went, 3 is my limit, done.
Yeah.
That leaves you then still going white knuckling it. It was I'm good.
Yeah.
And really that's so much more respectful of and so this leads into the next step, which is, and we'll get back to your because I think it'll tie in with this.
No, you're gonna
to
say
discover the satisfaction factor.
You're gonna say it. I don't need to say it.
When we do this, there's so much more satisfaction, there's so much more satiation than I don't know if you've ever had the experience. I hear it's happened to some people, not that I would know. But where you just eat something, and if we're eating that shame or whatever, we just kind of eat fast, and so because we know we're doing something, and then later it's like you don't even really enjoy it, and B, you don't even sometimes remember. It's like, oh my gosh, how did I eat a whole sleeve of Oreos? How did that even happen?
Yeah.
And when we're being mindful about it like this, and letting it be satisfying, then it really, just
tell about your M&Ms.
I was just gonna say, that. I have learned, and it's not that I do this every time, but when I really am like, okay, M&Ms, and if I eat them really attentively, usually I can be satisfied with 3 M&Ms. And it was shocking to me when I realized that.
It's a little crazy.
But it was like, I don't even want any more.
Because you're appreciating every aspect of it,
And
right?
yeah, and
like,
it satisfied it satisfied the sweet that I wanted at that moment in time. And it wasn't like, I want something sweet. Oh, we have M&Ms. Well, I'm just gonna eat these M&Ms.
Yeah.
And then I end up eating who knows how many, and not even really not having appreciated, because I didn't allow myself to just really to take the time to appreciate and be satisfied, to allow myself to really take pleasure with that food, instead of just eat it because I wanted it. And there was all this shame, and there was these shoulds and shouldn'ts and all of that involved. When I really just went, you know what, I like M&Ms. I'm just going to enjoy this.
yeah,
And when
that
I did
is a
that,
lot. You are far more advanced than I am. I do not think I could just stop at 3 M&Ms, but
you
but
stopped
the
the
whole-
whole 3 snowball cookies,
that's true.
and you really
For that
enjoyed
day.
it.
Yes, yes. I just think it's such a great example, your M&Ms, of if you eat them and you're satisfied, you can stop.
Yeah.
Are there some days you're like 5 M&Ms would do?
Yeah,
And
and
some,
there are other
like,
days it's
one-
like, and there's other days that, I mean, there's other days it's like, nope, I'm having, the whole little snack size bag, or even the whole,
You have candy
um,
in your house, like she has beautiful,
Oh,
she's got a beautiful farmhouse here
mhm,
where we are, and you have like a candy bowl
mhm.
in your house, a beautiful crystal pretty one, and it always has candy in it. And I think, I'm not sure that we could have a candy bowl at our house and
Well,
there would
it-
always be candy in it.
there were a lot of years that I didn't,
Oh, really?
because I couldn't, it's like, are you kidding me? There's candy out in the open?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'd be in that every time I walk past.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've gotten to the point now where it's like, it's not a big deal for me to have that there.
That's-
And so, I mean, I knew people before who had candy dish out, and I was thinking, I was like, how can you do that?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My sister does. My sister has candy. Every time I go there, I eat all of it. She says she doesn't mind.
I
don't know how.
my candy, come
Yeah.
eat it. So yeah, really allowing ourselves to take pleasure with food is a big one, and allow it to satiate us, allow
Yeah.
us to be satisfied.
I think for
And-
me, that was just a huge learning experience for me to go through, like, am I gonna feel guilty, or am I not gonna, am I gonna let
Mhm.
myself and not feel guilty,
Mhm.
and trust that.
Mhm.
That I think was the biggest thing, was to trust that I could eat like as many cookies as I wanted. I gave myself permission for that, and give myself permission and really trust that I did want to stop when I felt full.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Trust me,
works.
unless you have something
Trust.
medical going on that's messing up your taste and then your body is not going to, if you give yourself permission to just eat, you're not going to live the rest of your lives eating only Oreos.
I think
promise.
that's a scary thing.
It is. It's a
I think
very
it's a
scary,
really scary thing.
very scary thing.
Mm.
So you know what? And
Recognizing that.
we're gonna add another principle of intuitive eating. Just,
Are we making up our own?
yeah.
Ooh, check us
Trust
out.
yourself.
yourself.
You can trust yourself. So anyway, and then number 7, coping with our emotions without food. This is
Oh, well.
one thing to be said about that. The emotional eating is a term that we hear a lot, and it's like it's always termed a problem. So let's look at
Are you saying it's not a problem?
well, let's look at it one way.
Okay.
This way being, are you a human being? Do you have emotions?
Yes.
Do you eat?
Yes.
Do you ever have emotions while you eat?
Yes.
You're an emotional eater.
Okay.
Would you like to not be an emotional eater? Would you like, because what's the alternative?
Well,
You're eating without emotion.
so it's a
That means I'm
little.
robotic. I'm robotic when I'm eating. I have no
I'm
emotion.
cyborg.
Right.
I'm a cyborg.
I'm a cyborg eater. I have no emotion while I'm eating. I'm Data from, Star
I'm-
Trek. Star Trek. I have no emotion while, or Spock. I have no emotion while I'm eating. It's like, it's not an emotion.
We're really good with science fiction, Star Trek messages.
There you go.
Anyway,
Well, that's about as good
Well,
as it gets.
yeah.
But so it's like
So we want to
Yeah.
eat. And what you're saying is it's impossible to eat without emotions. Is that what you're saying?
There are times when we are pretty emotionless.
I think because it deadens them.
And we have this, we want, when we're at the family reunion and eating that food and enjoying being around our family that we love, that we haven't seen in a long time, do we want to take the joy out of it? Because joy is an emotion.
Yes.
So don't enjoy yourself while you're eating when you're with people that you love. And so there's that side of it.
Yeah.
So I have an issue with that for that reason. Now,
you're stressed.
When we're eating, when we let our emotions trigger eating and we're trying to deal with our emotions by eating, that can be a problem. Because, but even then, not always. Sometimes, honestly, it's just going to be our best option. Because if it didn't work to eat when we were stressed, if it didn't satisfy that, then we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It does calm us. It does relieve our boredom. It does help us feel less lonely. It does these things.
Yeah.
But if we're recognizing that that's what we're feeling, then we can look at it and go, you know what? Maybe this food is not what's going to help me feel less lonely. So what is? And then we can really address the actual emotion that we're having in a way that's really going to help it long term and not help it for as long as we're numbing it with however much we're eating of whatever we're eating.
Yeah. I think that a lot of diets say that, I think Weight Watchers probably said that, like, check and see before you eat, whether you're bored or sad or whatever. I think a lot of diets say that, but I think you're talking about it, if I understand it, it feels like you're talking about it in a profound way more, right?
I think so, because then it becomes part of our intuition instead of just and so don't eat then.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like, know that you're feeling whatever it is, stressed from work.
And so don't eat.
So don't eat. Yeah, that's the prescription.
Then what does that do with the stress that you're feeling?
Yeah.
It does nothing with the stress that you're feeling, except for leave you going, feeling lost. And
can you ever just eat if you're stressed?
Well, like I said, sometimes it really is going to be the best option that we have. I mean, because sometimes when things happen quickly, we don't have time to stop and go, okay, no, we don't have. And so occasionally it really is going to be the stress relief that we need.
It's the guilt.
If we're in the hospital with our best friend who's just been in a car accident and it's late at night and we don't know how they're doing, and the only thing available in the vending machine is candy bars, and then it's like in that situation, this is how I'm dealing with my stress. Or if we're driving across country and we're starting to fall asleep and we've tried rolling the windows down, we've tried playing the music loud and blasting it, and we're just falling asleep, and what's keeping us awake is the peanut M&Ms. Eat the peanut M&Ms. That's a better option than crashing the car.
I think
so. It's like there are times, and that's part of the intuition of it is the really understanding the why, and really, is this the best? Is this what's going to serve the best overall in this moment?
I think if you can let go of the guilt, at least for me, I think, so I drove not across country, but I drove to Utah, and we live in California, and that's drive across the Nevada desert, which is long and
not really good at keeping you awake.
No, and I did it. We just came back. Doesn't matter why I was there. Anyway, and I was driving back, and I got and I hadn't been eating a lot of stuff, and I got all the things that make me stay awake, like Cheez-Its and Red Vines and candy, whatever. And I just thought, just eat. Who cares? Like if it's entertaining me more than the tumbleweeds going by me, and that's literal tumbleweeds, then that. And I didn't feel guilty, and I ate all the Red Vines, and I was like, all right, so that happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. And so it's
to be a combo.
Right. And the better we get at intuitive eating, the more that we practice it, the more we're going to understand that when it really is, what the best choice is.
Mhm.
But again, this is where we don't, it's one of those ones that was very easy to try to make it into a diet rule, and it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Also, we're talking about a ton of food. I hope we're not making you guys hungry.
Next one.
Drink water, that will fill you up.
We haven't even gotten to our 5 resources yet. I feel like we kind of need to speed this along a little.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's nothing to apologize for. I've been talking too.
Okay. We're chatting.
Yeah.
We could do a part 2.
Respecting our body. And that is not the same thing as loving our body all the time. Body positivity is another episode that we will do very soon here. But really respecting our body, and that's, that kind of speaks for itself, I think, in what we're doing and how we're doing it.
And we're going to talk more about all of these.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I imagine in the future we'll have like a whole episode about each one of these at some point. And then exercising, the 9 is exercise and feel the difference, and that is a whole different thing from exercising or trying to, yes, in our exercise episode.
We talked about
that is, I think I think that was number 4. I don't know. Anyway, we haven't done too many. You don't have to go too hard. But exercising for the sake of how we feel, and not like, oh, I feel fantastic because I just forced myself to do this or whatever. But the difference that it makes in the functionality of our bodies, instead of trying to use exercise to reach a certain weight, instead of using exercise to try to make ourselves a certain shape, or to reach, to atone for food that we've eaten, or all these various things, but really to it's so much related to how our body feels. So. And then the last one is honor your health with gentle nutrition.
That sounds like you're eating pudding and jello and soft bread. That's what that sounds like to me.
You read it as
gentle. Honor your gentle soft food. Maybe some grits or
it has nothing to do with the texture of the food. Gentle nutrition is the contrasted harsh nutrition. The rules. You must eat this much, you must eat this much, you must eat. The rules of, the kale is more virtuous than the whatever. The gentle nutrition is just this recognizing that there are foods that are going to serve our body better, and so, but not choosing those foods out of strictness and rules and harsh nutrition.
We're gonna have to talk about that. Not now, but we're gonna have, because like I'm still just seeing like pillowy rolls and oatmeal. So anyway,
let's see. What's a hard food? Gentle nutrition can include nuts that are not soft. And it can include things that are not soft foods.
Okay.
This is not a post-surgery liquid diet.
What? All right. Well, that's good. Gentle nutrition.
There you go. I'm gonna really quickly flash up the screen of the
talked about
principles
once.
What did we talk about once?
About treating this, you said in gentle nutrition. You told me this once about treating it like not
what was it? I think it was gentle nutrition.
You shocked me. She'd be about to shock you as soon as this. No, to treat food and your body with the respect it deserves, and not, this isn't satisfaction. Okay.
And not like a filthy one-night stand.
That's funny coming out of your mouth. She's so sweet and kind. Like, I can't even imagine. So it's not like a filthy one-night stand.
Right. It's the respectful, and
I just think it's a really good, like, visual isn't quite the right word that I meant. I'm not saying visual. You do treat it like that, like it's some guilty pleasure, or and not, so it's not like that,
right? It's love. It's real love.
It's love. So it's not super shocking, you would say. It was just a little Chiva knows what they are.
So now maybe we can get to our,
Okay.
it's fast because we don't want to have episodes that are
Okay.
4 hours long. So our
I'm quiet. I don't want to just stop.
it's a podcast and we need to stop talking.
Okay.
If we stop talking, we have nothing here.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
anyway,
You can talk.
resources.
Chatty.
We both are.
Okay.
So
That's the problem. We're both chatty.
resources for you.
And we like talking to each other, so that helps.
You can see
Okay.
it's up in your little corner. Intuitive Eating, the book that is by, this is like the OG where things started. By Evelyn Tribbley and Elise Resch. And going along with that, so I'm going to buzz through these real quick so I can pull these down. Good visuals for some of these. Maybe I'll put this back up in a minute. So there we go. Here you go. Intuitive Eating. This is where this all comes from. It's a really great book. I'm sure, you know, for some of you who aren't readers, that might look daunting. So I'm 100% sure they have an audiobook.
Yeah.
So there's that. Next resource is the workbook that goes with it. It is a separate thing, obviously. But this actually gives you exercises to do, which is what workbooks do. So it like takes the stuff here. It's like, okay, now here, this is for this, and this is for, let's get this put into practice. So separate resources. First one, read the book or listen to the book or whatever. And then the workbook that goes with it, if you want to get going on that. Next one is,
Dum da dum.
dun, 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 health at every size. This can just help us get past a lot of our beliefs about what we have to look like in order to be good and virtuous people and healthy people. This is
Except
not
for food is not about virtue. Right.
So here we go. So Intuitive Eating, the book, Intuitive Eating, the workbook, Health at Every Size, which doesn't mean that everybody is healthy at every size. It means that the size that you are when you are practicing good health habits can be a healthy size. My mom dealt with this. Her husband, I might have mentioned this before, but she got married the second time later in life, and her husband had lost his prior wife due to ill health. And so my mom was what is termed as overweight, and he was very concerned about her health, which, you know, yay, he loved her, he was concerned about her health. Yeah. But she said, it took me the longest time to convince him that I wasn't unhealthy in spite of my weight. And it's like, all of her labs are really good and everything like that. But that's a foreign concept to a lot of people, that because weight is often equated with health or ill health, and that's just not the case. So Health at Every Size is a really good resource for that. The next resource is Food Psych Podcast. We have something for listeners here. So the Food Psych Podcast itself is actually done. She has over 200 episodes that you can listen to. She has morphed into rethinking wellness. Christy Harrison is her name. So if you're a podcast person, that's listen to the Food Psych episodes are much more about intuitive eating. So that's a good, if you're a podcast person that wants to like have a podcast about that, then that's a resource for you. The next one, if you're an Instagram person, Colleen Christensen, what I like about her is she is an intuitive eating dietitian. She's a registered dietitian. And she makes these videos that just make it so easy to understand, and they're entertaining. And she talks about having no food rules, if you can imagine, from the name of her account.
That's
so
what we've been talking about.
Yeah, so she's a fun one, and she really is good at explaining that no food rules just doesn't mean just eating all the things all the time. Anyway. So if you're on Instagram, I recommend to follow for her. And then there's a bonus one that it's a bonus because I have not actually read this book. I have listened to some of Carolyn Dooner's stuff, but I have not actually read the book. I have just heard very good things about it. She's laughing because the reason that I opted away from Carolyn Dooner is because I'm just not real big on swearing. And it's like all her information that I heard from her and her take, I like her take on things. But I can get that information elsewhere without all the swearing, so.
So if you like
It's the-
swearing,
It's the
Here's
the F it diet, but she does not
Oh
use
my
F
gosh.
it
she uses the actual.
as the actual word, and
the
she uses
fornicating
it
word.
often.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
So I like swearing, so I'm gonna read the book. I like swearing extra. So this is for the people who swear, like, here's the Instagram, here's podcast, but if you swear, then here's the book for
No,
you.
this is a warning for people who.
Oh,
may
for warning.
prefer not to hear.
I think if it says the F it diet, that people probably get an
yeah.
idea that
Yeah.
it's not safe for
Yeah.
work.
But-
Unless you work, I say that, but every place I've ever worked,
Yeah,
people
workplaces
say that,
are-
so that's not true. It's not safe for
So-
church
There you go. Depending on-
NSFC.
It's not child
Depending
friendly.
on what church, it would be any church, well, who knows, I don't know.
Well, no, there may
Haven't
be
gone
many
down.
churches that swear, so they're not.
That's not the thing, but you don't swear
Yeah.
in church, is the thing,
Yeah, I don't think so.
although I have
Anyway,
by accident.
but yeah, let's just say that podcast and that, I think she has a podcast, I'm not even sure, but anyway. You would not be able to put it as child friendly,
Okay,
so there's, that.
unless your children swear
Right.
too.
So. Yeah, unless it's not an issue for you, so whatever.
But the whole
Anyway,
point is
yeah,
that the diet, she's saying like. F it diets, like
Right.
get out, like go fornicate. So I don't.
Don't think that's what she's saying, but.
Yeah.
It's totally
Like,
wrapped-
yeah, that's to be wrapped. That's my underwear, a little corner there, so you guys can't see how red I just turned.
Here, I'll stop sharing so you can see.
Yeah,
I think it's time we stop now,
Yes,
apparently. We've
yes,
talked long enough.
yes.
So, thanks for joining us and sticking through our shenanigans. And until next time,
This is nourishing
body
body and
and
soul.
soul.
Do that.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so this is embarrassing because I've always made fun of people who did this, but
Like and subscribe.
turns out it's important.
Well, it's important because if you like what you're listening to and seeing and you want to find it again, it makes it easier for you to find it. And then also it makes it easier for other people to find it. So if you like us, like us.
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah, like put a ring on it like
yes,
us.
yeah. Then like and subscribe and it'll make us easier to find. Hey, it's Tracy. If this was helpful and you'd like more, follow me on Instagram at tlastel.nourishingbodyansoul or on Facebook or YouTube at Nourishing Body and Soul, or you can find my website at nourishingbodysoul.com. Thanks for tuning in to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you that the information we share in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended for medical advice. While we hope you find our discussions helpful, we strongly recommend that you seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, or any other aspect of your health. We also want to make it clear that the host, guests, and producers of this podcast are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences that may result from the use of any information or suggestion discussed in this podcast. We care about your well-being, but we can't take responsibility for individual outcomes. By listening to this podcast, you agree to indemnify and hold harmless the hosts, guests, and producers of this podcast from and against any and all claims, damages, liabilities, costs, and expenses arising from your use of the information provided in this podcast. We're so grateful for your support, and we hope you keep listening and learning with us. Thanks.